Hello everyone, my name is Anna Mardal. This video that I'm recording is not a Let's Play. If you're on my YouTube channel as one of my usual Let's Play viewers, you may not want to watch this. I want to trigger warn up front that this video is going to contain very graphic content of sexual assault and also death and gun violence. This is a two-part video that I'm recording so that I can talk about sexual assault in video games and specifically how survivors of sexual assault are portrayed. This video game that you see right now is Beyond Two Souls for the PlayStation 4. I've actually played up to the point that there's actually two scenes that I care about and want to talk about, and I'm not going to play the entire video game for this channel. But, so some backstory is probably in order. Beyond Two Souls is the story of a young girl named Jody who grows up with this ability to see spiritual presences around her. She has a soul or a spirit or a ghost or whatever you want to call it, who is literally physically attached to her. His name is Aiden, and he can't leave her proximity. He's kind of attached to her on an umbilical cord kind of a thing. So she is she's also under attack by spiritual monsters, and she and Aiden are trying to muddle their way through life and not get killed by these ghosty monsters that haunt her on a regular basis. So I've already played through her childhood, and what we're about to see is sort of a day in the life of her adolescence, in which a sexual assault scene will happen. So that's kind of some background into where we are and what we are. This is our main character. Her name is Jody. She has a ghost who knocks over things and possesses people in order to help her attain her goals. And she's trying to live a normal life, but is very effectively stymied from doing so because of the isolation that her gift, quote unquote, gives her, and also the fact that she's under controlled study at this point in her life by some member or some organization of the US government that has been made up for this game. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue, and we're going to leap into this scene, and I'm going to talk about it as we go.
I said no. End of story.
Please, Nathan, just this once. All the other girls in my class are going, and I won't be late. I promise, okay?
You're wasting your breath, Jody.
It's just not fair. How come everyone can go and I can't? I do everything you ask of me all week, and I never get to have any fun.
For the 100th time, you're not like everyone else, and there are rules.
Well, I didn't ask to be different. I just want to go out and have friends and be like other girls my age.
You'll never be like them. You need to get used to that. Good night.
Ah! Yeah.
I'll be next door. Let me know if you need anything.
So that kind of gave you a little bit of introduction into where we are. This is our room where we live. You'll notice there's signs that say under video surveillance. In the far corner of the room, there is a video camera. That mirror over there is a one-way mirror that people can see from the other side. This is a little kitchenette. This is where Jody has lived since she was like, I can't remember, a young girl, 8 or 9 type of age. So she's extremely cloistered in this room where she's been basically forced to live in order to be studied. And it is supposedly for her own good, but that is a thing. So she's angry because she can't leave, and
Stop it, Jody. This is not gonna do you any
this is I'm playing as Aiden right now, the ghost who knocks things over, and he's trying to wreak havoc to express how angry we are at not being allowed to leave.
Are you proud of yourself? I hope so. Because you have to clean all that up.
Stop it, Aiden. They don't give a shit if we break everything in this goddamn room. If that's not gonna work, we have to figure out what will.
And so
Yeah. Yeah, she's calmed down. She smashed up the apartment first, but she's calmed down. Okay. Sure. I'll see you tomorrow.
Cole is one of the researchers who has been watching over us since we were a little kid. He's orange right now, which means that Aiden can possess him and take him over. And we'll use that to get out of the room to go on our adventure. Now, one of the things that really stood out at me with this episode in Jody's life is she talks about how she wants to go out to this party
I'm really sorry,
that
Cole.
all the other girls in her class
I hate
are
myself
going
for
to be
doing this.
attending.
You understand, right? I need to go out tonight.
But what isn't really congruous for this story is that she doesn't have girls in her class. This is just being asserted all of a sudden.
Yeah, I know.
When we previously saw her
It's too late to do
as
that.
a young tween, like 11, 12 type of age, she was being presented as being a self-study or single study where she wasn't interacting with other children at all.
Locked.
And then suddenly
Of
we
course it is.
go to her as a teenager and she is supposedly interacting with other people her age simply in order for this activity here to happen. And it's implied that the girls in her class are pranking her, that this party she wants to go to doesn't even exist. But we'll get there. But what I want to point this out. I notice it because it's part of what makes this episode of her sexual assault seem really crowbarred unnecessarily in a way that it really did not need to be here. But it's here, and we're going to talk about it. So this is us trying to sneak out with our possessed
Cole?
researcher.
Bit late for day trip, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm feeling I'm feeling sick. I'm feeling sick, so we were just gonna go, and get some fresh air.
You okay? You want us to call the infirmary?
No, there's no need. Cole's looking after me, so. Right, Cole? Yeah, so.
What's up, Cole? Cat got your tongue? Hmm?
He lost his voice. think it's like a virus or something. That's more than I've gotten out of him all day long. So
Hope it's not contagious, buddy. You should be home in bed if you ask me. Safer for all of us. All right, well, see ya. Go on now.
Okay, we've successfully gotten past the security guard.
well, at least we don't have to look for Cole's card. There's cameras everywhere. Better not hang around here too long. Now get in the car and start it up.
We're going to hide in the trunk so we can leave the facility without any questions being asked
It's not the most
about why we're
glamorous
leaving
escape.
the facility that we're never
need to
supposed to
know.
leave because we're
Let's go, Aiden.
basically
Try not to
a
attract attention, okay?
laboratory subject. We have to let Jody, our main character, out of the trunk.
You'll forgive me, right? I'll be back soon. And don't worry, I'll be fine. Okay, Aiden. Take him into the forest. Make sure he's safe.
Okay. So here is the bar where supposedly
Well, this is the place.
the girls in our class
The girls must be inside already.
are supposed to be meeting us. We have no class, and we have no girls in our class, and it doesn't fit with any of the story that we've seen so far. So it does feel very contrived to suddenly assert that those things exist. And there are 2 customers at the bar. There is a bartender, and there are a couple of boys at the pool
They're not
table,
here.
and there are no friends.
We'll wait.
So we're going to sit down. And if you're a first-time player going through this, like I was once,
How old are you, miss?
I'm 21. I just want a lemonade.
you're probably sitting here thinking, okay, now what do we do? This doesn't feel comfortable or safe. Do we wait? Do we wait for our friends? What's going on? Here's some lemonade. What am I supposed to be doing as a player? Let's drink our lemonade. We're waiting for our friends. And now the only available option is to stand up. So I'm going to go into the restroom and demonstrate something that we'll come back to in a minute. Here in the restroom, I'm going to switch to Aiden, and I'm going to use Aiden to come back out here and eavesdrop on the customers. See if I can get a better view. Here we go.
How old do you think she is?
15, maybe 16.
Now, what is she doing in here all on her own?
I don't know.
Maybe she's looking for our company.
Shit, you know what? I think I'm taking a shine to that little hole.
You're all talk, girl.
Finish your beer and shit. Hey, don't tell me she ain't got you all hot under the collar, huh? She's looking for it.
Yeah, well, you sure gotta wonder what she's doing here this time of night.
Look at that little piece of ass, man. She's kind of pretty, too, huh?
Come on, Earl. Knock it off.
Okay, I'm going to pause here and talk to that a little bit. I have a lot of problems with this scene, but very specifically, one of my biggest problems is that because of the game dynamics going on here, this conversation makes the following sexual assault that's going to happen if you make the wrong choices as a player, it makes it avoidable if you've played right. So what I mean by that is the first time I played this scene and I was just playing as a person playing a video game, I didn't think to use Aiden to go eavesdrop on a couple of guys I wasn't even interested in. I was following the story. I was wondering about where my friends are, whether we should leave, whether we're going to get in trouble for sneaking out the way we did, whether Cole, the guy we abandoned in the forest, is safe. I wasn't thinking about what are two random guys in a bar talking about while they watch television, because it didn't occur to me that that would even be interesting. So when I came back out from the restroom and decided to hang around for my girlfriends a little bit longer, and the sexual assault happened, I was taken completely by surprise because I didn't observe this conversation. Because the conversation is there to be observed, that kind of makes what happens almost like the player's fault for missing an important clue that they failed to pick up. And not everyone's going to agree with me here, and I don't, that's fine. Everyone can have their own opinion. But if you're writing a video game dynamic where a sexual assault is avoidable if the player does things right, and unavoidable if the player does things wrong, then you are sending a message that some people are going to pick up that if they've been sexually assaulted, they did something wrong. They weren't observant enough. They didn't pick up the right clues. They didn't read people correctly. They didn't leave a dangerous situation when it felt dangerous. You may not mean that. You probably, the game creator, not you the viewer, I'm talking about in a game creator sense, you probably would not go up to a sexual assault survivor and be like, yo, that was totally your fault, because you're probably a decent human being who wouldn't do that. But that's what this sort of game mechanic is actively conveying, even if you don't mean for it to. So I do want to stress that this isn't about the game designer's intent. I'm pretty sure that the game designer didn't intend sexual assault victims to come away from this going, gee, thanks for saying that my own sexual assault was my fault for not leaving when I was getting a bad vibe. I don't think anybody would do that on purpose. But But regardless of intent, that's what is playing out here. So because I was a bad player, basically, the first time around, what happens next was something that I didn't see coming. So I want to trigger warn that what is about to happen is very graphic and violent and unpleasant, and you may not want to watch. So I'm going to resume game. And I'm going to go back to Jody. I think they're done talking. Okay. So Jody has an option here. She can leave, or she can continue to wait for her friends who are never going to show up. But you don't know that. So I thought, okay, hey, I'll play pool and wait for my friends. And also, I'm going to do something else. Options. Difficulty. I'm going to bring the difficulty down because I can't remember if there's quick time events after this. No, I don't need a partner.
I'd actually rather just play on my own, if that's okay.
Shooting pool on your own. Takes two to play that game.
And here is the point where I really wanted to leave, but you no longer have that option. You don't get control back at this point. You made a choice whether to leave or to play pool, and everything else that plays out was basically, oh, here's the quick time events.
Nice
Unavoidable.
What you doing in here all on your own, son?
I'm just, out to meet some friends. They'll be here any minute.
Trying to hustle me, girl? Truth be told, you look kind of young to be in here. How old are you?
Nearly 17. Old enough.
I don't enjoy this scene. I'm having a hard time breathing.
I'm impressed. Your parents know you're in here?
Are we playing pool or 20 questions? Hey! Back off!
Come on, baby, you know you want to.
My parents are probably getting worried. I should be going.
Who's there? Where are you, creep? Show yourself! Come out, you fucking coward!
Sorry, I have to switch back to Aiden's actually harder to control for me on the quote-unquote easy setting because you lose free movement.
Don't chicken out of me now, Frank!
So we're wrecking things up as a ghost to protect Jody, who's crying on the pool table.
It's like some fucking spirit come to punish us for our sins! Shut the fuck up, Frank! That's bullshit! Frank! Fucking hell! I don't wanna die! Nobody's dying! We get the fuck out of here! Jesus! Jesus! What the fuck you doing, Sam? Open the goddamn door! Again! Get out of the way, I'll break it down!
probably should watch this part. Okay.
Jody! My God. Are you all right? Good God, what happened?
I just wanted to go out. Watch me like everyone else for once.
No. It's okay. It's okay.
So, there's a couple things I want to say about that. And like I said, this is the first video of 2 parts because this has impact later in the game that I want to talk about and feel very strongly about. A lot of you will probably notice that there are some parallels between this scene and a famous scene in a movie called The Accused, where Jodie Foster is raped by 3 men in a bar while people watch and cheer. It's a legal drama. It was made in 1988. It's very famous. I don't know if the developer has stated that Jodie Foster's name and Jodie in this game, Beyond Two Souls, if that overlap is a coincidence, but a lot of people have drawn attention to it because of this scene, because it does feel very similar. If that was the intent, then I suspect this particular scene, which honestly feels very out of character to me for the rest of the game, I think that probably this scene was planned early on in the development process. This is going to be one of those subjective things. Your mileage may vary, but this scene felt very out of character to me with the rest of the game. I've already hammered home, and will probably continue to do so, that her just suddenly having girls in her class who scheduled to go to some bar, which of course they didn't. They were hoping she would break out of the fictional equivalent of the FBI and go there and maybe get hurt. Like, it's very contrived feeling. But setting that aside, that the scene was really unnecessary, this doesn't develop the character or really show anything new. There's actually a scene right before this when she's younger and is terrorized by some teenagers and she beats them up with Aiden, or that's an option. And there will be scenes later where people try to hurt her and Aiden help. So this is not really doing anything new or needed or necessary that the scene was needed. So we have that. Second of all, as I already talked about, the fact that it's avoidable if you play right is kind of a problem. And in fact, in the second video where I'll where I want to show some of the gameplay consequences of having this happen to your character, the player is actually punished if Jodie is assaulted in this scene. Certain gameplay paths get cut off. Certain trophies aren't available at that point. Ending options are altered. There's dialogue scenes that are different. From a developer standpoint, I understand why they did that. The idea was that anything that happens in game should affect what happens later on in the game. But from a player perspective, having the good parts or the better parts of Jodie's life walled off because she was sexually assaulted kind of sends a message to people who were sexually assaulted in real life that that bad thing in our past will always affect us forever. That because of damage that we didn't have any control over, whoops, too bad. No good game ending for you. No life trophies for you. You did it wrong. Start a new game. I know the developer didn't intend that. I'm not suggesting that they did, but I do want to give a perspective of how this can feel to people in the audience who are sexual assault survivors, and which kind of brings me, I guess, to my last point. This scene to me feels like there was no thought to the fact that there would be survivors in the audience playing. I was not expecting this scene. I was playing along, playing a video game, enjoying myself, and boom, this happened kind of out of the blue. And really upset me to have to play through a sexual assault. A lot of people are going to say, well, but you can play through a ghost or you can play through murders. Well, I haven't been murdered, and I don't honestly know anyone who has. I've been fortunate that way. And I guess the people I know have been fortunate that way. And I've never met a ghost either. But I've been sexually assaulted. And honestly, if you're going to have girls and women in your audience, something like 1 in 6 of them will be a survivor. Even if you just, I expected guys to play this game. Well, that's like 1 in 20. Maybe more, because there's a lot of stigma around reporting. And I'm not saying that you can't include stuff like this in a game, but the fact that it felt so unnecessary and so even out of character with the rest of the story, but was put in anyway, makes it feel very gratuitous. And the fact that you layer it with the fact that it's avoidable if you play right, and if you play quote-unquote wrong, not only does it happen, but it damages your playthrough from here on out. It damages her so that you can't get trophies and dialogue and ending options. To me, that feels like it was written without consideration of the fact that there would be sexual assault survivors in the audience. And I think that's a really, really bad idea. If you're going to put a sexual assault or a rape or an attack like this in your game, you need to be thinking about, is someone going to get hurt? How can we minimize that? There's ways to show that rape is bad without having it be bad in a way that screws up the entire game and walls off the ending that you want. That, to me, is not a very sensitive treatment of rape at all. I'm sorry, I'm trying really hard not to cry. I'm going to cut this video here and play to the next scene. There's actually a few intervening scenes. Play to the next scene where we see a consequence fall out of this, and talk about that a little bit more. Thank you so much for watching this. If you've gotten this far, my name is Anna Mardal, and again, this game is called Beyond Two Souls, and I don't have any beef with the developers, with the actors, with anyone involved in this game. I'm making this video purely in the hopes of educating people about what not to do when writing rape into their fiction, into an interactive drama, into anything that's going to be consumed by a wide audience. I'm hoping to raise awareness. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video where I talk about this, and probably after I've had a good cry. Goodbye.